and thank you for joining today's webinar. Today we are presenting webinar on importance of online presence in today's world, organized by Applied Science and Humanities Department of Parul Polytechnic Institute, Parul University. The main agenda of this webinar is to understand the importance of online presence for outbounding marketing because it reinforces our brand and what we offer to our target market. It also vital for inbound marketing because quality online content will help attract customers even if they haven't heard of our brand. I, Vaishali Nathwani, would like to introduce today's guest speaker, an award-winning designer, video strategist, and the founder of Expert Channel TV, Melanie Falvey from Spain. He helps to establish business owners, speakers, organizations, experts to client and online media channels. The best curated content. First, the ALL Ladies League also former global influencer for International Chamber of Commerce and Industry, President of Spain Media and Events Council of the Global Chamber of Commerce, and Woman Power Head for Spain, and also an author and speaker. Our mission is to empower and inspire people to grow their authority by share their expertise globally in their own lives and in the lives of others. It's a privilege to welcome you, ma'am. And you can start with the session.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mrs. Nathwani. It's an honor to be here, and I really hope this session is enlightening and useful for everyone watching. So we're going to start the session, and it's sort of divided into two parts. So the first part, we're going to be looking at why online presence is so important nowadays in today's world. And then we're going to actually get into action and implement a few tips, a few steps that you can start on to your favor instead of against you. Share my presentation, and please, if you have any questions, feel free to write them down, and we will be doing a Q&A at the end. And also, if you're watching the replay, just make sure that you pop your question in the comments, and I will be coming back to all. Okay, so here's our topic today. Though online everybody did that, and I'm going to show you today that that's not the case. We can all benefit from using our online presence as a marketing tool. So here's the thing: your online breathing to be aware that your online presence is able to work for you. And this is what you are hopefully going to be learning today on this session. Webinar, you're going to learn, or we're going to step to career. Brand confused why you need to be proactive about your online presence and not can help. This is if you want to do in the future. Where do I want to go? Where am I moving forward? So this is hopefully going to help you with this last part, the step-to-step actions you can take today work for you. Okay, so before we even get started, let me just tell you watch, and I appreciate you for that. But let me tell you something. If you and you don't take action, it's useless, because I could be sharing with you the most mind-blowing information, or I could be sharing with you the most useless information, and you could basically get the same results. And that is if you don't take action. So please, information, just take action to your whole online presence, and you will really see results. So if we're ready, we're going to dive straight in. So let's look at the difference between an online presence and a personal brand. So in order to understand this difference, I've just used simple definitions, and these are my definitions. If you Google about these topics, you will some of them very confusing. So I just like to use this simple. Here's brand. All not. We are out in the world, we become a personal brand. Okay, and a personal brand is simply the of your style, your, and this is the key, you choose to share with the world. Okay, so it's different to your identity. Your identity is the whole of your layers. Your personal brand is what you choose to share with the world. And now, on the contrary, what is, well, very simple. Your online manage that personal brand. So your personal brand is what you have, it's your content, and your online presence is how you manage that content. So how you benefit or harm that. That's why where personal brands. And the sooner you start working towards benefiting that personal brand, the sooner you're going to most of your online presence. So here's the thing, the layers I was in a personal brand come basically from two different personal life and your professional life. And your online presence is the balance between those two aspects of your life. So you are in control of how much or how little when you're trying to build a presence in your career. Now, this topic today, as I said at the beginning, to be very useful for anyone watching. So if you're a student, you obviously need to start working on your online presence, because your recruitment process starts today. It doesn't start the day you graduate. It starts the day you start your university studies, to be honest. So you really need to be aware of this, and you really need to balance and decide and start online of thinking of maybe pursuing a more entrepreneurial journey. You also need to be thinking online on you and no one else. To also to manage. If you are looking at finding an internship opportunity, a promotion, you also need to be using your online presence effectively. So this is good for everyone watching, no matter what your goals are right now. So here's, in short, very briefly, what a personal brand versus an online presence is. So your personal brand is the what and the why, okay? What you are, what you stand for, why you do things. And your online presence is how you manage that information. It's the how you post, the when you post, and the where you post. And when you combine those two things, you have a very powerful tool. So here's the thing, a strategic online presence will be able to present you in the best light. And this is where marketing comes in, and this is where online presence. First, we've learned you are your own brand and you need to be very strategic about your online presence. So just think about your online presence as, if you're young, you don't even know what a business is. This used to be a thing not that long ago. So it's your visiting card. Online presence is actually your CV. What you send in when you're applying for a job is no longer the only way people are recruiting you. So be very aware of this. And it's also like the About Me page on a website. So think about this and be proactive about it. And you're going to learn how to do this. So I want you to sit here and just think carefully. What do you want your online presence and your personal brand to say about you? What is it that you want to communicate to the world? What is it that you want to achieve? And how do you want to be perceived? When you're able to answer those questions, you are already designing your online presence the right way. So, briefly, the person that you're sooner keep instead of whatever that looks like, okay? Again, it could be an entrepreneurial career, it could be corporate career, it could be a startup, it could be anything you have. Presence will amplify your person. So something important, when you're using your online presence in the right way, in an effective way, you're able to take your strengths and you're able to work around, just correct everything and make everything right. We do have, you know how to use them to your favor, they become strength. And really amplify your strengths and show you in the best light in front of whoever needs to see you, your recruiters, the person giving you finance for your next or tutor. So this is why I always tell people to be proactive about your online presence. Don't let it happen to you. Many people think they cannot control their online presence 100%, although a small percentage of your online presence is going to be on other hands, Google. But in any case, you can control 99% of that. Decide how you want to show up in the world, in the online world. So you are able to decide what, where, when, why, and how you're going to show up. And this is crucial because you have the power. You can completely design that personality that you're putting out in the world. So let me just tell you why you want to work on an online presence. And I like to go over this because I think when we learn something, it's easier when we know why we're learning it. I don't know about you, but I like to know why I'm learning something new. So the reason why you want to work on your online presence, and this is a lifetime project, okay? You don't have to get it right in 2 days. This is going to evolve. Your online presence is not going to be static because it's just a reflection of your own life and how you're growing and how you are evolving. So be ready to always be tweaking, be flexible about your online presence. But here's how it can help you. So as I said, if you're a student at university, you're already thinking about your job, okay? Whether that's in a big company, in a small company, whether you want to create your own startup, your recruitment process starts today. So the sooner you get this right, the sooner your options are going to be better, okay? If you're looking for a scholarship, well, guess what? Your online presence is really going to help you here again. Internship opportunities. Companies look at your profiles. Companies look at your online presence before they make a decision. They need to make sure that you're the right candidate. If you're looking for investors for your startup, again, your online presence can really help you with this. If you're searching for leadership positions, if you feel you are a leader, you have a leader within you, you really need to show up as a leader in the online world. If you're thinking about career advancement or any promotion, whether it's now or in a few years' time, also start working on this online presence. And definitely, if you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, you need your online presence to grow a business. There's no way you can grow a business today without an online presence. And we've definitely learned this the hard way. With this pandemic, most businesses who were not able to transition online have disappeared. The ones who have been able to not only survive but thrive, it's because they have been working on their online presence. And then selling, I'm using the concept selling in a very big way. When you are online, you're actually selling yourself. Okay, you're selling your ability, your capability, your skills, your personality, everything you bring to the table. So this is why overall you need to build your online presence. So this is why it's so important. It's going to help you grow your opportunities of any kind, your authority, your visibility, your credibility, which is crucial online, and your influence. And let me tell you, even if you think you don't need some of these things right now, your career is going to be long, hopefully long. You will need some of those points at different points in your don't enter the online world, you can be influencing people. You need credibility because you're not going to be able to achieve anything if people don't believe in you and don't trust you. You need visibility because if people don't know who you are, what you do, you're just going to be, a secret. Nobody's going to be able to work with you, collaborate with you. When you're working on building your authority, everything becomes seen as the go-to expert. So maybe if you're still studying, you see a project, but again, the sooner your presence, the sooner your authority is going to be set in the online world. And it opens up so many opportunities. When you do it right, people understand what you do, they understand what you stand for, and therefore you collaborate, work, whatever it is that your goal is. So here's where the fun starts. Okay, this is my favorite part because this is where you actually take action. So you might want to take notes starting now on this part. And we are going to go a bit deep into some of the points, not all of them, because obviously online presence is a huge concept and there are many ways to approach it. So I want to give you a few can start implementing on your social. That's the first step you need to take to an effective online presence. So you shouldn't be doing, okay? So you probably know this, but even though most people know it in theory, I see this on a daily basis. So I just wanted to, share a reminder. So when you decide to become more visible online, when you decide to create this online presence for your personal brand, don't just post randomly. That random posting has to end. And I'm sorry I'm being harsh here, but here's the thing. If you're posting content that is harming your credibility or your personal brand, you're not doing anything towards building that authority and building that credibility. So if you want to post like random things, and random, I just mean like, you go out partying, you do silly things, and we've all done this. What you can do, I'm not saying that you just have to, not go out again and not do anything that every does, and even older people. It's just about being aware of what you're posting. So if you want to post partying, clubbing, whatever you do, just create a different profile that cannot be linked or tracked down to your official online presence. So you want to treat your online presence as I said before, as your CV. So that has to be very curated content, very specific content that's going to show you in the best light. When you're posting random content that does nothing for your personal brand, it's going to be very difficult to then turn that around. So let me just give you a simple example. You're at an interview and then suddenly the recruiter says, oh, what's this photo here? And you're just on the street, drunk. And, how can you explain that? Yes, everybody understands you go out and you party if that's your personality. But your recruiter is also seeing that. So be very aware of this. Create a different kind of profile on a different platform with a different nickname so that people cannot, link that account to the other. Also, every interaction we have online is there. It's recorded there forever. So be aware of that also. Again, you're representing yourself. You're representing your brand. And it's no different to the team managing branding and marketing for Coca-Cola, let's say. It's the same thing. They are careful on how to the public eye. You need to be careful how you show up in the online space. So don't treat other people badly. Don't treat them rudely. Don't be too... you can be opinionated, but don't get into fights online is what I would suggest, because that stays there and that shows a side of your personality that you might be the nicest person on earth, but if somebody comes across that type of content, it might limit your possibilities to find, a promotion, to get a promotion, to find a job, or to find investors for your next project. So just be aware of that. And the way I like to do it, and I still do this on a daily basis, every time I'm going to post, I just think about it first. And I think, how would it make me feel if I saw this content in 5 years' time? So you might be, in your early 20s now. How will you feel when you see this in your 30s even? Will you think that was okay enough content, or will you think, oh my goodness, why did I post that? So just think about that. It's a simple exercise, but it's going to save you lots of headaches. So now let's look at what you can do to build that online presence and how to start doing it today. So the first point is you need to be strategic. And I'm sure you've learned this already. You need to be strategic about everything you do in life to get results. So what is your goal? Get very clear on your goals. Why do you want to have an online presence to start with? Is it that you want to find the job of your dreams? Is it that you want to find investors for your startup? Is it that you're looking for a promotion? Have one goal in mind. And again, your goals are going to change throughout your career. You might have an immediate goal now, but in 5 years' time, in 2 years' time even, you might have a different goal, and that's fine. You need to be tweaking your online presence and your goals all the time. So think of a goal and then work towards it. So think about how you would like other people who come across you want to be perceived. And you can do a simple exercise. You can just of adjectives. How do you want to be perceived? Well, I want to be perceived as knowledgeable. I want to be reliable. I want to be perceived as approachable. We all have different strengths again, and we all feel more comfortable with some aspects of our personality. So use those to your favor. How you want to be perceived is part of your brand, and create a list and then, shortlist and stay with, let's say, 3 to 5 adjectives, and always have those in mind before you post, before you do a video, before you show up online, because it's really going to help you stay on brand way is the way to perceive you. And again, here is where you can really be proactive. Very often we think that the way we show up is going to be perceived many different ways depending on who's watching or reading. And that's true up to a point. People do react in different ways in front of the same content. That's obvious. And for some people, your personality is going to be great and they are really going to resonate with your personality, so they'll stick around. For other people, you will be, whatever, boring or obnoxious. They'll just won't resonate with your personality, and that's also okay. That's one of the powerful things about an online presence, is that you can filter. People who don't resonate with you will just leave. With you, with your content, your personality, your core values will stay. So that's a really good filter. So you can control up to a point how people perceive you. If you always show up having in mind, bearing in 5 adjectives of how you would like people to perceive you, it will become a habit. And you will be aligned with those adjectives. So again, a very easy exercise you can do before you post, before you show up online. Will this move me closer to my goal? So remember your goal, the goal you think, if what you're going to be posting is going to move you closer to your goal. And we are going to be speaking about all posting goal related stuff. There are, many times, but always think about this. Is it close pursuing? So the second point is how to optimize your social media profiles. Now, the reason I want to share this is because, again, most of you know this and you know the theory, but then connection requests on LinkedIn, let's say, I see that probably 80% of people don't have their profiles optimized. And your social media profiles, and this is the same for any kind of platform. When you're starting to build an online presence, choose your platforms carefully, but always approach them in the same way. They are your billboards. They are your About Me page. So you need to use them in an effective way. So how do you optimize a social media platform? Use a one-liner or a tagline. You can call it whatever you like. What do you do? What do you stand for? What qualifications do you have if you already have some? What is it that you want to be known for in this period of time? Again, this depends on your goal. So create that powerful one-liner tagline that tells the world who you are and what you're about. Now, consistency is the second point. Consistency is key in everything you do, especially online. And the reason why consistency is very important is because, one, if people don't see you showing up consistently, they are not going to trust you. And it might not be fair. You might be the most reliable person there is, but the process that goes inside your viewers, audiences, friends list, connection list, brains is, if they don't show up consistently, they are not going to be a consistent worker, collaborator, intern, whatever it is. So you need to be very, very consistent in the way you show up, in the frequency you show up. And being consistent doesn't mean showing up every day. It just means create your own consistency plan depending on your personality. And we are going to look at that in a minute. Create that consistency plan and just keep that. If you decide to post once a week, just, post once a week, but do it. If you decide to post once a day, then do it. Just be very, very consistent and congruent. Another way you need to be consistent is visually. That visuals are terribly powerful. 90% of the information that enters the brain is visual. So when you are using a million different headshots on all your social media profiles, it's going to be very difficult for people to recognize you. So again, stick to one headshot, use it for a period of time. And then obviously if you change or if we all get older. So just keep that headshot, up to date and current. I like to change mine every few months. So please don't use like a photo of when you were 5 years old. Some people do that and it's just not showing the best personal brand. So just be very consistent with the visuals, be very consistent in the frequency, and the third point would be use your cover photo as a billboard, as a real marketing tool. So how can you use your cover photo? So here are just two examples. See, I have the same headshot everywhere. This is Instagram. This is LinkedIn. Again, here, this is Facebook. This is LinkedIn. It's the same exact headshot and it's the same exact tagline or one-liner. So this is how I use my cover photo. I explain what I do. Some people just use a photo, an image, and there's nothing wrong with that if it aligns with your core values. So if you are a family person or if you are studying a specific subject and you want to show your cover area, which is this, then go for it. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to write on your cover area. But whatever you do, make it work towards that online presence. So I like to use it as a billboard, as a one-liner, so that everybody knows what I do and that's it. So I don't post random pictures of cats or dogs. I use it, very strategically. So number 3, this is the third thing you need to be doing to build a powerful online presence, is get very clear on your core values. You might already know your core values, you might not. But if you don't yet know your core values, do this exercise because it's really going to be worth it. This is going to help you throughout your career. You need to get very clear on your core values because everything you do should be aligned with your core values for many reasons. 1, because we need to be congruent as humans. 2, because it's going to just make you happy. It's really going to make your life more, it's going to make it easier because you will have a purpose. When you're working towards your core values, it just makes everything more aligned. And it's very, very important. So what are your core values? It could be and this is going to be different for everybody, and there's no right or wrong. There are no right or wrong core values. This is very personal, and this is, something you believe in, you really believe in and want to, continue supporting throughout your life. And again, you can add more core values, you can tweak them slightly, but your main core values are going to be something very stable throughout your life. So if you need help finding your core values, it's usually what you stand for, okay? What makes you really, what are you really passionate about? And what makes, so the opposite of your core value would be what makes you cringe. So is it, certain injustice? Is it, the lack of freedom? Is it whatever it is? We all have different core values. You just need to find yours. Once you get clear on your core values, you need to infuse not every piece of content, but you need to infuse your content with those core values. So you need to show them on your online presence. You need to write about them, and you need to speak about them. This doesn't mean that you have to write an article about your core values. This just means that whenever you're speaking to people, whenever you're exchanging opinions, whenever you're writing or doing a video about something, you can always, mention, if it makes sense, obviously, about your core values. So, for example, my core values are gender equality and human rights. And everybody knows that because I actually use it in my my headlines and my cover photos and my email signature. I actually incorporate my core values to everything I write and speak about. And what that's going to do is it's also going to open up new opportunities. So companies, organizations, people sharing your core values are going to feel so aligned that they will want to collaborate with you. So you're doing this because it's part of showing your personality, what you stand for, and it's part of, creating this effective online presence, but it's also going to benefit you in the sense that it's going to open up many opportunities. So when you're very clear on your core values, again, the wrong people won't stick around. And that's great because it just makes your circle very, very positive and very easy to manage. So number 4 would be, and here's where we go a bit deeper into the marketing side of things. So again, think about yourself as a brand, as a person. This advice is good whether you have a company, whether you want to start a company, or whether you are just, pursuing a career in. I think there's 2 types of marketing when it comes to the approach. So one is inbound, how you attract people to your online presence, to your personal brand. How do you attract them? And outbound marketing is how you communicate, sorry about the typo, I'm missing an M, how you communicate that personal brand. How do you communicate to the world who you are, what you stand for, what you do, and what you're looking for? So you can use inbound and outbound in content. Content is your most powerful currency online. Well, online and offline, but basically online, it's the currency we have. How can you connect to people? Through content. How can you attract people? Inbound marketing, through content. How can you communicate what you do? With your content. So content can take many shapes and forms. We're going to be looking at some of them that you can be using, you can start using. Even if you think you don't have anything to write about, you do. So you can create your own content. Even if you're not a copywriter, even if you're not a writer, this is something every single person has had to learn if they want to build their online presence. So you can improve your writing skills. You can get better. It's a process. It's a journey. But you can definitely start writing, about what you do, what you want to do, your core values, your field of expertise. If you've learned something, if you know something, you can always share value, and always think that even if you might be in your first year at university, you still know more than someone who hasn't started university yet. So you always have something valuable to share. And there's always somebody who's going to read that content. Just be very respectful to your audience and try to put out the best content you can. So it's not so much about pretending to be a great writer when you're not. It's about being intentional about what you write and being respectful to your audience and trying to always share value, always be of help, because that again is going to position you ahead of so many others who don't. So if you feel brave enough, if you feel you have content you can share, you can create your own. If not, you can also curate content. And this is a very easy way of positioning yourself as, the go-to expert. So to curate content, what I would suggest you can do is you can just tap into already reliable, prestigious sources that are related to your industry and that are related to your goal, and just share those. And if you also add your own twist to it, your own opinion, your own little summary, then it's even better because you're adding your own points. But you don't have to. You can just search for our field of expertise related to share that, and people will value that you're sharing intentional, interesting, and reliable content. So that's also a way to attract. That would be inbound marketing. Your own content would be outbound marketing because you're communicating to the world outside. And now, out of all the types of content, yes, you should be writing. Yes, you should be sharing other articles, but you need to start creating video content if you're not already. Why? Because video is a shortcut to all your marketing and communication efforts. It is a shortcut because it uses all the layers of communication. Video is really powerful because it shows everything. Okay, if you mess up, people can see, and that's okay. Don't worry about that. So video can really help you communicate, connect, establish that reputation, build that credibility, connect emotionally with your viewer. It can really show your personality. It can really show your. It's going to be very fast. It's the fastest way of growing an effective and powerful online presence. So if you haven't already, tap into video content. If you have a camera, if you have a phone, you can start creating video content. Again, depending on your goals, you do need to show up professionally. And showing up professionally is not so much about what equipment you use, because you really literally don't need anything else apart from your phone and to stand in front of a window if you don't have a proper light. You don't need expensive equipment at all. So forget about all those gurus saying that you need this and this and this. You don't. Your phone, stand in front of the thing. But the way you show up, the way you communicate, your communication skills, again, you can improve those. The way you show up confidently. And before I continue with this, let me just tell you something. Moving online or having everything online as part of a new normality, well, for the last few years, has done something very interesting, which is it has made shy people and introverts be at the same level when it comes to opportunities as people. So in the real world, in the offline world, many times we've seen extroverted people outgoing people get the promotion, get the internship, get the job, because they're very open about what they can do, what they want. They have no problem communicating. For shy people, for introverts, this is a huge problem because we feel, awkward. We don't want to say how incredibly good we are at some ask for the promotion. So has made it very easy for shy and introverted people to find success, to thrive, because it's just a very easy media for everybody. So if you're shy, don't think that you have to hide behind written content forever. Use video content also. There are many easy tips to get over your fear of video. Very easy tips, and it's not today's topic. I would love to help you with this if you need help, because I've been able to overcome my fears. My biggest phobia was being in front of a camera. I mean, for the longest time, I didn't have a profile photo on my social media. See, what a paradox. And now I teach this. But I didn't have a photo because I was so shy. I would panic in front of a camera. So imagine video. I mean, video was just a huge no. Now I run 2 businesses completely around video. I mean, I wouldn't have a business if it weren't for video. So you can totally get over your fears. It's very easy. It's just about knowing the brain process and how you need to change the brain connections to make it an enjoyable activity instead of a terrifying activity. So even if you're shy and an introvert, I can assure you, you will be able to be a good communicator on video, and you will be able to grow your personal brand with video. So everybody can benefit from video. Anyone and everyone can get good on video. So don't think that, again, video is not for you, because it can be. But just take it one step at a time. You don't have to do it all at once. So again, your content is your best currency online. This can be written, it can be video, it can be audio. Okay, if you're a good communicator and you just don't want to be a screen, you can also guest podcast. You can start your own podcast. This is always very good for brand awareness, to build that audience, to get to know more people, to get your work in front of new eyeballs. So it doesn't necessarily have to be video, but always be aware that you have to attract the right people to your circle, depending on your goals, and communicate what you do and what you stand for, and also in your marketing. So now I'm going to just share very quickly 3 tips to create content. So I call it the 3 C's of content, and it's clarity, consistency, and connection. So let me just look at these. So clarity, because you need to be very, very clear in your messaging. So you might not be a great writer. We are all learning, every post will be better than the last one. Every video will be better than the last one. But you need to be clear on what you stand for, what you represent, what your brand stands for, what you do, what your qualifications are, what your skills are. Always be very clear. You need to be consistent, and we've already touched upon this. Be consistent in the way you show up, in the frequency, and in the visual. Connection. Connection is huge, and it's something that very often we miss because we think we always need to show up as an expert. Oh, if I'm building up my online presence, I need to always show up very formally and as an expert. Well, connection comes from people resonating with your core values, with your hobbies, with your likes, with your dislikes, with your personality. Connection is an emotional process. So if you're able to connect to people through your content, through your interactions online, you will be, again, ahead of the rest. Because very often people treat social media as anything but social. And we are social beings. So when you show that you are a social being, that you want to, establish and build real relationships, that's when the magic happens. Again, that's when opportunities come your way, because people know you. They know who you are, what you do. They know your personality, and that's the way you're going to really advance your career. So don't miss this step. It's no good posting amazing content, really going deep into your topic of expertise, if you're not able to connect to other people. And there's many ways you can connect. You can obviously slide into their DMs, but you can also just comment and like and interact and just be a nice human being. It's not that difficult, I'm sure. So we're almost done. Hope you're still here with me. Okay, strategic visibility is very much related to what I was saying about video. So when you're using strategic visibility, it just helps you build credibility and authority. So by strategic visibility, what I mean is, don't try to be everywhere doing anything. Be very mindful of where you show up. You don't have to be everywhere. Forget the Gary V, if you know him. He is everywhere, but he is because he has a huge team. That's his brand. He has an omnipresent brand, and he's able to do that because he has like a team of 40 people doing stuff for him. When we are a personal brand, we cannot do that. So we need to manage our time very efficiently. So to be more productive and yet get more results, you need to be very strategic about your visibility. So do you want to get guest blog posts, guest interview, guest podcast? That's great, but only do it in platforms or with hosts that are going to help you reach your goal. Again, have your goal in mind. Think about your expertise and think about what would make sense for you now. So if you are going to be a doctor, don't go into a podcast that only speaks about, trucks, because it just makes no sense. So just be aware of this. It's going to save you time, and yet everything you do is going to bring results to your goals. Okay, and the last one is, again, very related to connections. We've already spoken about this. Build real relationships. Don't use social media just to post and go. Really connect, really network with other people and help. Don't and just sell yourself right straight there. First build that connection. And when you start a genuine conversation with somebody, you're able to tell them what you do. You're able to tell them they are looking for your expertise. They will immediately refer you because you are top of mind, because you're that nice person who's always there, approachable and ready to help, and really help without danger. For me and for everybody I work with, I always give this advice: help from the heart. Don't expect anything in return, and you don't know the amazing opportunities that will come your way. So social, and we like to connect to other people, and even if you're shy, online makes it really easy, even for the shyest people. And I tell you, I'm the shyest person on earth, so if I'm able to do it, you can do it too. So this is just to wrap up. So now I want you to get your questions ready, because I'm ready to answer them all. So these are the main points we covered. So the world is online, so you need an online presence. It's not a nice to have, it's just something you really need to start designing right now. Now, build your personal brand mindfully. Be very mindful about what you post. Will you be okay with that content in 5 years' time? Is it getting you any closer to your goal? Is it showing you in the best light? Just think about that before posting. Be strategic about everything you do online. Be consistent. This is a huge one. Share valuable content. And you can also share more personal, or if humor is one of your brand adjectives, then go for it. You don't have to be serious to share content. We all have different personalities. You can be educational, you can be inspirational, you can be entertaining, or you can be the three of the, all three, but just always share value, lead with value. Share your values, your core values, because that's going to help you connect emotionally with people, with brands and companies. Use visibility in a strategic way so you don't burn out and you're only joining, collaborating, and posting in, aligned places. And connect to other people, because that's what's going to really help you build that network that is going to propel your career. So everybody, thank you so much for attending this webinar, and let's get started with those questions.
Thank you, ma'am, for this beautiful session.
Okay. You're welcome.
Yes, ma'am, one of the questions from student is, what is the biggest challenge for businesses while going online?
The biggest challenge, okay, this is a great question. And my answer is going to probably surprise you. The biggest challenge is not everybody is ready to take the plunge, okay? It's more of a mindset exercise. Before transitioning online, you have to work on your mindset and you have to commit to it. So becoming visible online is very scary. Okay, this is not easy. I've probably made it sound very easy in the presentation. It's not. It takes courage, because many fears start coming up. Okay, the fear of judgment. We all have that fear. Even the most confident person still has a little bit of that fear when you're going to be online. Anyone, anywhere in the world is going to be able to see you. And this is very scary, because you don't know what they're going to think about you. So we start thinking about, oh my goodness, they're going to think I'm, boasting. Who am I to share this information? There's better people than I, people who are more knowledgeable, people who are taller, people who are prettier, people who are blah, 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 blah. So the first step is to commit to becoming visible, and then taking it a step at a time. So don't start and put yourself out there in public. Start with a small circle. Start even privately. Create your own little Facebook group with yourself in it, and just start posting and start getting comfortable with being a bit visible. Then open up that circle, and the more comfortable you get, the more you can open up the circle. Okay. And I mean, there's many tips you can use, and I'm happy to post in the comments a few tips later on for people who are finding it really scary. Okay, because it's just some mental exercises you can do.
And the second one is, how can you give some important tips, as we have discussed already, but few important tips to manage our online presence?
Okay, so a few tips. Yes, don't let it, for example, many people get caught up in the content creation phase. And that's just one aspect of your online presence. The easiest thing to do is streamline everything, just unify everything, be consistent, and find the right consistency plan for you. So what is a consistency plan? We all have different personalities, and they're basically this is just one way of dividing personality traits. But when it comes to consistency, it's basically 4 groups. So we can be shy or outgoing. We can be intro or extroverts. The biggest problem is energy management and visibility management. So if you're shy, you don't want anybody to see you. That's basically, you would rather die than people look at you. When you're an introvert, you need to have your downtime. You need to recharge from your internal world. When you're an extrovert, it's the opposite. You charge yourself up from being in vivid, vibrant surroundings. You need the noise, the colors, the people. So when you know how to manage personality, be able to decide what consistency plan is best for you. So for a shy introvert, they might just only really be comfortable posting once a week or once every 2 weeks, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. For an outgoing extrovert, they can be posting 24/7. They have no problem with that. So just be aware of that, and there's no right or wrong. You can be very consistent by just posting great content once a month. So when you're starting out, again, start small. Don't let this overwhelm you. It's more important to just be consistent across platforms, and whatever you post, make it really valuable. That's enough at the beginning.
Thank you so much, ma'am. We have covered all the questions. Thank you so much for giving us your valuable time, ma'am.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure.
I would like to thank you, the head of our department, Mr. Hemal Patel, sir, the HOI of our institute, Professor Jatin Vaidya, sir, the academic director, Dr. Mahesh Bhatt, sir, and the president of our university, Dr. Devanshu Patel, sir, for motivating and supporting us continuously. Last but not the least, I would like to thank you all the participants who assembled here today for this webinar. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.